Welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you're enjoying the videos that I'm creating here for you. And if you're not aware, I have a community called Vibrant Women on Facebook, and I'll put the link in the description below so you'll be able to check that out because I create a lot of exclusive content for that group to help women overcome the things of the past so that we can live vibrantly, which is what vibrant living is all about. So the subject of today's video is dealing with our inner critic. It's living a well-lived life full of freedom and joy while we still have our inner critic. We all know what our inner critic is, and we know what that voice sounds like. And sometimes it's so common to us, it's become second nature that we actually don't even notice it. So I'm going to talk about in this video, why do we have an inner critic? What do we do with it? What's its purpose? And how can listening to it exclusively hurt me? And how could I use it for my good? And what do we do when self-doubt shows up? Yeah, that's a lot. So let's get ready. If you want to, grab a piece of paper to take notes. So why do we have an inner critic? You may or may not know this, but your inner critic is part of your subconscious, and it's actually created and designed to try to keep us safe from any risk, safe from danger, safe from criticism, safe from rejection, embarrassment, and all of those kind of things. And it's important when we're processing and dealing with our inner critic and that well-lived life I talked about, that we realize it's there to keep us from all danger, all risk, everything. And when we live that way, it means we really don't live. So because a life well lived has risk. It reminds me of a song. I'm sure you've heard it. It's called I Hope You Dance. And here's my favorite lyrics. Allow me to read them to you. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living means taking chances, but they're worth it. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out and giving up, that's mine, reconsider. Give the heavens more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I don't want to think about how many times I decided not to dance because I didn't want to look foolish. I didn't want to face ridicule. And I just was afraid. Whether it was real or imagined. Have you ever seen somebody cut loose at a wedding? Everybody cheers and is so amazed of the confidence and just having fun. And I want that to be me more. But I have to admit, that hasn't always been me. I've been the silent wallflower, keeping safe, not saying anything, but I'm not doing that anymore. So it's important to remember that your inner critic is part of you, but it's not all of you. And if you've had a painful past, it works overtime to keep us from events and situations that have happened to us before, and we deal with it all different kind of ways. We talk too much or not enough. We withdraw, we get over boisterous. We do all kinds of things to deal with the fear that is created by that inner critic. So I want to help you learn to listen to your spirit, listen to your intuition as the primary source of guidance. So what happens when we follow the inner critic exclusively? It costs us the quality of life. We can't experience joy if we're constantly in fear, right? And it can affect our professional life as well. because I don't speak up. I don't play full out. I don't take any risk. And so therefore, I never stand out and I never actually accomplish the passion that's in my heart. I don't live fully personally. I don't dance. I hide. And it can't help us motivate and really achieve the passion that's in our heart. And the other thing is it causes us health problems. When I'm holding all of that inside, it affects our body and it causes health problems for us. We can't live in a stress, fearful state without our body reacting. It wasn't designed to live that way. So I want you to remember these couple things. Having an inner critic is not abnormal or pathological or anything wrong with it. If you think about the person that you admire the most, they have an inner critic too. Everyone has one. Everyone. Another thought is the critic is one voice, but don't let it be dominant. It's not the core of you. You are bigger than that. You have more in you than that inner critic. You are a spirit living in a body. You are bigger. Your gifts, your aspiration, your desires to express that and love in the world in your own unique way. Don't let the inner critic hold you back. The goal really isn't to get rid of the inner critic. The goal is to learn how to hear those crazy thoughts and self-doubt, know they're there, but not let them determine what you actually choose to do. So it's learning to recognize it when it shows up. So some tools. I've got some tools for you. What to do when self-doubt or fear shows up. Now, this is why I said grab your paper. Number one is label it and notice it. Instead of saying it's me, say, oh, I'm hearing my inner critic right now. Recognize it as the inner critic and separate the I from it. It's not I am saying this, it's my inner critic's having a little freak out right now, rather than I'm having a freak out. When you refer to it as the inner critic, instead of confusing it with you, it loses its primary source of power. Some people have found it helpful to create a name for it. I've called it my gremlin voice. That totally separates it from who I am. And it is something that is trying to keep me safe, but it isn't necessarily who the core of me is. So it's learning to name it, even creating a personality for it, and separating it from you. It's also important to deal with it with compassion, because the motivation of that isn't to keep you from living, it's to keep you safe. Remember, all risk. So it goes overboard in trying to keep you safe. So once you're in touch with realizing the inner critic's intentions, it helps you to handle it with compassion instead of attack, embarrassment, isolation, and those kind of things. Some of the tools that people have done is like removing your inner critic from the scene that you're in. So if you're in your office, imagine you're picking up your inner critic and putting it in the other room and closing your door. And then begin working again and say, it's just me in here. My inner critic's out there. I can go for it, whatever it is. Picture it. Another picture is a voice receding into space where it's physically away from you, or turning down the volume on it. Right now, the inner critic's going to be quiet, and turning down the volume. So here's my summary for today. Become aware the difference between you, your intuition, your spirit, and your inner critic. Separate it. Number two, acknowledge it. Understand its motives and address it accordingly. Number three, give thanks and appreciation that it's there to protect you. Don't be judgmental at that part of you. It's just trying to keep you safe. Give permission for it to have an opinion and practice self-compassion. Choose to dance. not to follow the directive of the inner critic and create a life you would love. Remember, you are bigger and stronger than you realize. I would love to hear your comments below this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I want to remind you that every month or so, I have a free workshop called Turn Your Baggage into Luggage. And I will put in a link below this to find out when the next workshops are. It is free virtual workshop. So no matter where you are, you will be able to attend and learn how to live the life you've always dreamed and let go of the past in a transformational way so that you can be all that God created you to be and live the life you love. So I look forward to hearing your comments below this. And as always, live vibrantly and don't forget to dance. Bye for now.